What's up, everybody? I'm Pouch of Randomness, and I've been wanting to make this video for a little while now, and I figured now would be a great time to do it because it's Easter, and this video is about the Easter eggs and references to other things that I have in the lore and in the characters of my game. So we're gonna start off with Goodby and Blue Jacket. These are two comic characters that I've created. Goodby I have made many comics for. So he's kind of like my signature comic character, I guess. And Blue Jacket is his sidekick in the series. He can use the powers of electricity when he stings people. So these are just two cool comic characters that made it into my game. And I might eventually do a set that's just comic characters. I think that could be kind of cool. But anyway, those are two rather plain references because it's literally in the name. Next up, we have Dicebot01. This guy is a reference to a different TCG I was planning to make a while back, and I never got far with it. But anyway, I had this like idea that I wanted one of the archetypes to be like these Dicebot people, and depending on like how powerful they were, it would be like Dicebot01, Dicebot02, and they would get more health and whatever, and they would also be able to change the roles of different dice. So like, for example, they could change, if it was a Dicebot1, they could change the roll of the die to a 1 if you wanted them to. But if it got to Dicebot 6, you could change it to a 6, which was very powerful. So those are like the different like levels of it. And this was just like the basic Dicebot. So I made it in this game. I don't know if I'm gonna make other versions of this, like the higher levels eventually, but yeah, that's another reference. Now we have Dwayne. This is obviously a reference to The Rock Johnson. That's pretty obvious, I feel like. Now we have Torterror, which is this tornado guy, and UFO. These cards kind of reference each other because they're both cards with characters that are like absorbing cows or I don't know, like levitating cows into the air. So in the original like prototype art for these, which is just a simple pencil sketch, I was going to have the other character in the background of these cards. I never did that, but anyway, these are kind of cool cards, I think. Then we have Paper Star, which is a weapon. So this is a reference to just origami ninja stars, which I used to have a huge obsession with making when I was younger. A couple years ago, I used to make a ton of these. So that's just a little reference to that. Here we have Little Snack, which is a reference to Epic Underworld's game, and his signature character, the Spike Serpent. And then down here we have Burrito Bro Billy and Burrito Bro Bob, which are these two burrito guys, and they're both references to Grapple Grid's TCG. Just the art of them was inspired by Grapple Grid's art, so that's kind of cool. And another thing that's cool is Grapple Grids is actually making the art for these guys in set 1, which is pretty awesome. Then we have Popsicle, which is a reference to my favorite character to play as in one of my favorite multiplayer video games, Boomerang Fu. So that's pretty cool. It is fairly obvious of a reference, but yeah, this is the one I'm like, I hope I don't get like sued or something for this, but it's not like, if you don't know the game, it's not that obvious. And instead of having boomerangs in his hand, he actually has sickles because it's a pop sickle. So yeah, definitely inspired by that game. Then we have Happy Pizza, and the reason that this one is a reference to something is because I had a short where I think I asked people for ideas of what to put in my game, and somebody said they wanted me to reference FNAF, so this is a reference to FNAF. The Let's Eat thing here, I believe, actually appears on one of the characters' shirts, and there's like this, like, you know, like the pizza is definitely a sign of the FNAF pizzeria. And then we have the just like classic tiled floor and the ominous dark background there. So yeah, that's kind of what this represents. Then we have Stereotypical Flame Orb, which is actually a reference to The Giver, because in The Giver, which is a great book, if you haven't read it, I would recommend you read it. Basically there's this guy and he lives in this perfect society where everybody's the same and they all fit in together, but they basically removed differences in the world, so everybody's the same and there's no like problems such as like racism or anything like that in that world. But basically the main character realizes that the world that he lives in, it really isn't that perfect after all. And I'm not going to spoil anything for that book, but the reference here is in the lore. It says this one has given into the sameness, and that's what it's called in the Giver, the state that everybody's in, where they're just the same. Then we have Little Ghost, which is probably, like, if you really think about this one, it's very obvious. If you like aren't really paying attention to the lore or the art, you're not gonna realize this, but I feel like this is probably one of the most obvious lore references here. This is a reference to the video game Hollow Knight, and the lore is actually very much corresponds to the game, but the art I also did in the art style of Hollow Knight, so it's very, I would say it's a very obvious reference there. What else do we have here? We still have, I think the last one we have is the Fedora Clan over here. So I have 2 cards, Fedora Clan cards, and something cool about Fedora Clan cards is that there's actually going to be 1 card in each set. It's like a different profession, basically. So here we have like the Fedora Clan Spy, here we have the Fedora Clan Scientist. So these guys basically are members of the Fedora Clan, which in the lore of this game, they've been studying the galaxy and are these like really powerful band of like scientists, and they all wear fedoras. That's just like their signature thing. And then they just got sucked up into the void where everybody is until they get played with a card, which will make sense more when I do a lore video in the future. But that's kind of these guys, but they're kind of a reference to multiple other things, because I've had a Fedora Clan and a couple other things I've made. I think I had them in a comic one time, and I also had the Fedora Clan in a different YouTube channel that I have. I'm not gonna name it here, but basically I had this Lego YouTube channel where I built this big Lego city, and the Fedora Clan was one of the members, one of the groups in the city, and they're basically like this like black market group that did illegal things and stuff. So anyway, yeah, this is all the lore references I believe I have in the game right now. But I still have a bunch of cards that I haven't entirely written the lore for yet. And there's a bunch of cards that have cool lore, they just aren't really referencing a different thing. So yeah, I just figured this would be a fun video to do for Easter, and I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.